Brethren, it's not always about the size of the dog in a fight. It's more about the size of the fight in the dog. You need to take a look at yourself again. Do you really know who you are? Do you really know what you have? Because the feeling of inferiority starts with a man not knowing who he is or knowing what he has. When a man fails to know who he is or what he has, he builds up, it develops a sense of inferiority. Now, here is the outlook of the feeling of inferiority. He says, I'm not as good. He says, I'm not as beautiful. I'm not as educated. I'm not as wealthy. I'm not as endowed. That is the outlook of a feeling of inferiority. When you take a look at some other people and you see yourself lesser than them, you see yourself not up to them, you see yourself not as important, you see yourself not as strengthened, that is what inferiority complex does in the life of a man. Fear and intimidation also could breed that feeling in a man. Before David appeared on the scene, Saul and all his men of war had been there many days. And Goliath will come out and then he will say to them, bring up just one man that can fight and defeat me. Only one. If that man succeeds at bringing me down, then all of the army behind me will surrender. It's as good as you have defeated all of us. And the Bible says that each time Goliath came out, Saul and his men will run into hiding. Men of war. David was the only one who could respond to the threats of Goliath, because he didn't see himself inferior to Goliath. Some of us, we are not yet pulling our best in life because you have allowed yourself to come under the influence of the spirit of inferiority complex. Job chapter 12 verse 3 from the easy to read version. Job said to his friends, he said, but my mind is as good as yours. You aren't any smarter than I am. So when next somebody comes around you and the person is proving like he's smarter than you, let these words come out of your lips. Even if you're not saying it out, say it in your heart. And let them know that they are not smarter than you. He says, you aren't any smarter than I am. You haven't said anything that people don't already know. Do you know that for 40 days, it was the same sentence to tell you how unintelligent Goliath was? It was the same thing. He crammed it. He didn't even change it. The same thing. He was not intelligent at all. And you see, when intelligence shows up, strength bows. That's what the rest of the army didn't know. They were trying to equate their strength to the strength of Goliath, and that will not work. I may not have the exact thing you have, but there's something that I have that you also don't have. Goliath looked down on him, but he refused to allow it. He said to Goliath, you can't look down on me. He spoke up. I'm sure that was the origin of the Sorosoke generation. He spoke up. He said, you have come to me with your spear, with your shield, and with your intimidating size. He said, but I've come unto you in the name of the Lord of hosts, whose armies you have defiled this day. He refused that Goliath should shut him up. He spoke up. Brethren, never allow anyone, whoever that person might be, to look down on you. Neither should you look down on yourself. It's even good if people are looking down on you. worst case is you looking down on yourself.